Hello and welcome to today's podcast. I'm Ben Stockwell and I'm fortunate to be joined by Sophia Poveda from the Stonehill women's volleyball team. Sophia, how are you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's getting a little cold here. I think we hit just under 30 degrees this morning, so a little chilly, little frost on the
Wow.
car, but not too bad.
Not
I
sure I can relate, but
well, yeah, kind of getting into that. What has the semester been like for you?
so for me, I'm from Miami, Florida, so I am nowhere near Stonehill College at the moment. So it's definitely been the most different semester I've had thus far. I am home and I'm remote. So I've been doing all of my classes online. All of my team meetings have been virtual. It's definitely been more of a lonely semester. I'm missing my team for sure, but we're just adjusting to however I can.
Yeah, it's gotta be a change just going from, like you said, being up here in the Northeast and, being so far away from your team. Has your family been around with the COVID situation, or is it pretty much just you and your parents? And
Yeah, my family has been around, so it's just me and my twin brother. So that's been nice to have him home because normally we're not together at all. So it feels like we're kind of back in high school again, living together, going to school together, that kind of thing. But my parents are both working, but it's been nice to be home and have him as my roommate, per se.
yeah, that's good. At least you have someone to do some stuff with.
Exactly.
For you growing up in Miami, how did you fall in love with the sport of volleyball?
I grew up in an athletic family, I guess. My dad always played soccer. He coached my soccer teams. It's always the kind of thing like we were always doing something. I was outside playing instead of like inside on my phone. Like that wasn't really the childhood that I had. And so I started actually with gymnastics, and then I learned about this thing called sports, and I decided to go after that. And I went to a volleyball camp. I think it was in fifth grade, and I just fell in love with it, and that's what I kind of pursued after.
You are from Miami, Florida. What was your recruiting process like to come to Stonehill?
Actually, Stonehill came to my college campus in my like the CCC, which is our College and Career Center, and they came and I kind of just wanted to get out of class, if I'm being honest. And so I went to go listen to the speaker, and I actually really liked what he had to say. And I was like, oh, I'm really interested in Stonehill, but I wasn't sure if they had a volleyball program or whatnot. So I reached out to the coach, and she actually answered me the day after. And then I just kind of got in touch with her, started talking, ended up visiting, and fell in love with the campus.
Yeah. Now, coming from Miami, what's something you've unexpectedly enjoyed about being up in, the Massachusetts, Boston area for the last 3 years?
I would say the seasons, because we do not have seasons whatsoever in Miami. It's just pretty much all summer. Maybe a little bit of wind here and there that makes it feel like fall or winter. But I've really enjoyed the seasons. I never saw the leaves change, which sounds really weird to some people. So that was really cool. Experiencing my first snowfall, things like that. That was really exciting for me.
What's something that you miss whenever you're up at school? What's something you miss about being in, about Miami, about Florida?
I miss the Hispanic culture. I miss speaking Spanish on a daily basis. I miss the Spanish food. I know Stonehill sometimes has like some traditional Spanish plates, but it's not the same as my mom's home cooked meals. But yeah, that's just something that I miss.
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I could definitely see why you'd feel that way. Looking at the school side of things, what's your major now, and what are you trying to do with that?
So my major is economics with a double minor in political science and business. I actually went in as a poli sci and econ double major, thinking I wanted to go into law school. I wasn't really sure. But then I really fell in love with econ and just with like the theory side, the finance side. It's so broad that you can really go a lot of different ways with it. And I actually am already employed for post graduation, so I'll be a consultant for Accenture. So that's kind of what I want to start doing is work in the consulting world, maybe go out to finance. But at this point, I'm really happy with what I'm doing, and I'm just excited for what the future holds.
That's awesome to have a job lined up, ready to go for after you graduate. Is there, you talked about how you kind of switched majors. Is there a class or two that you really, sticks out in your mind as one of your favorite classes, or one that just kind of crystallized things for you?
Honestly, I've had a lot of favorite classes at Stonehill, and some of them weren't even in my major. They were like philosophy classes. But within my major, I really loved money and banking and fixed income. Those were classes where I went in knowing absolutely nothing, but I left knowing so much, and I like didn't even know that was possible. And so just like learning a lot and like being like, wow, like I just scratched the surface, but I feel like I know so much. That's when I was like, I feel like there's so much to learn within econ. And that's kind of where I was like, this is what I want to do.
Nice. Now, I did look on your bio as well, and it said you did a summer internship at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires. What was that experience like to be, down in South America for a summer?
Uh, Phenomenal. I highly recommend for anyone. As a fall athlete and just as an athlete in general, I didn't really see studying abroad to be in the cards for me, just because I could have gone in the spring, but I want to be on campus and I want to be practicing with my teammates. I don't want to miss out. So this was kind of my study abroad experience. Interning abroad was something that I wanted to do to be able to get that. I guess it's kind of like I wanted to have that culture shock. I wanted to be able to immerse myself in a different culture. And it was really, really cool working at the US government, but in a different country was amazing, meeting so many different people, but learning a lot, being able to work in both English and Spanish was something that I improved upon a ton. But I honestly met a lot of cool people, learned a lot of new things, and it's an experience that I will, take with me forever.
Nice. And you're someone, like you said, you love being able to speak Spanish at home when you're back in Miami. And what's the biggest difference that people might not realize between, whether it's Miami, Florida, or even just Mexico to the south of us, and a place like Buenos Aires, which is, I mean, for one, so much farther south and even closer to the Antarctica than we realize sometimes. But what are some differences that we might not realize?
Well, at least, my experience in Miami, people call it the capital of South America, which is just very funny to me. I just think it's a mixture of a lot of different countries. People are coming from the Dominican Republic, from Colombia, from Cuba, from Argentina. So there's a lot of different kinds of cultures mixed together. In Buenos Aires, what I found was it was a very European Spanish. I felt like I was kind of walking through, like a Spain kind of city. Like, the architecture is similar, the culture, and the culture down there was very much focused on relationships with your friends, with your family. It wasn't really work first and then family second. It was more like family first, work second. And so that I really enjoyed. I think that was one of the differences that I found. Just, being in South America, I think they just, they prioritize different things.
Nice. And we talk about at the NE10, community service is one of kind of the pillars of the conference, what we're trying to be involved in, and as well as athletics and academics. What type of community service activities have you been involved in, either at Stonehill or before?
So right at Stonehill, I was part of ACES Girls, which is a program that our volleyball team does, which is during the spring and on Sunday mornings. I think it's for about 2 hours. The first hour, what we do with girls from the community who want to learn about volleyball is we teach them something about, being a girl, becoming a woman. Like, what can they learn? So self-defense, what does it mean to be a girl? Just different life lessons that they may not learn in their household. And then we teach them that. And the second hour we will go into just teaching them volleyball skills, and that's really fun. There's some girls that I see like for the last couple of years, and I remember them and they remember me, and it's just like fun to have that time together and be able to make an impact in our community, and see them coming back and always being happy, because I don't know what their home life is like, but just being able to have those 2 hours with them on a Sunday, like that really is something that I look forward to.
Nice. And for you, what's a hobby, interest, or passion you have outside of volleyball and school?
I think as an athlete, most athletes like love working out. So that's something that, I love to do. But outside of that, I really love public speaking, which seems to surprise a lot of people, because that is, I think, the number one fear among Americans is public speaking. But I love it. And I don't know what it is, but I just really enjoy being able to have a platform where I can make an impact and where I can, make someone's day or help them through something. That's something that I really love to do.
And with that public speaking, are there certain topics that you're addressing when you speak into these audiences, and what type of audiences are you talking to?
Yeah, so in high school, I worked closely with FCA, which is Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And mainly what I talked about was just my story and like overcoming adversity. So, a lot of us, we face a lot of trials in life, but like it's hard. What do you do when life is hard? And so, talking about those moments, relating. I was a lot of things have happened to me in my life that I can use for that, but I am half deaf. And so like losing my hearing was something that I talked about a lot, how I use my faith and how my faith is a huge part of that in overcoming, these obstacles. And so that's pretty much what I talk about. It honestly depends on who I'm talking to.
Nice. Going over to the volleyball side of things, what position are you playing at Stonehill? Now that you're there.
I'm an outside hitter and I play all around.
Okay. And with that, obviously outside hitters, if you want to play the entire time, you have to have a multitude of skills. You can't just be, singular focused, maybe like a libero or something. What would you consider your best skill or asset as a volleyball player and an outside?
I think I react really quickly. I think on my feet and I'm just like, I don't hesitate. I mean, of course there are times where I do hesitate. But for the most part, I act as soon as I think. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm not the tallest person. As an outside, I'm 5'6". I think I'm the shortest in the NE10, if I'm being honest. But I have a good vertical, so that helps. My eye work is something that is huge. And so a lot of people forget like your eyes are part of the game too. So one thing that I use to my advantage is what do I see on the other side of the court?
And for you, because you do so much on the court, would you rather make one of those diving one-handed stabs, like save the ball from going down, or are you getting more amped by just spiking it on someone's head?
Well, not on someone's head.
No. I know, but like between them to the point where they just go back and try to get out of the way.
Honestly, I actually think right now it would be the diving play. Maybe just because I miss that, like, running after it. It feels like no one can get it, and just that one hander that you can pop up. More than that spike. I think both are awesome. I just kind of like that because then it's like then I leave it to my team and I see what they do.
What's been your favorite volleyball memory at Stonehill over your first 3 years?
That's a hard one. I think there's a lot of memories. I don't know if there is an exact game or an exact point where I'm like, this was the best because we've had a lot of great plays. Actually, now that I say that, I think we played Southern Connecticut. I could be wrong. But we had a point that went for 2 minutes long, and that rally was so long, and we won the point. So that's probably one of my favorites. I just remember my legs felt like they were going to fall off. I was so tired, but I was like, at the end of the day, like, I can't quit. Like, no matter what, I just can't quit. And we won that point, and that was awesome. So that's probably one of my favorite memories. But the majority of my memories are just, bus rides, being in the locker room, just being silly with my teammates. Those small moments kind of are what I think of when I look back.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've seen a few long rallies. So 2 minutes is a long time. I feel like everyone's just so singularly focused. It almost extends it sometimes because everyone is just so locked into not losing this point.
Yeah.
Kind of some other quick hitters here. You mentioned soccer, but are there any sports you've played besides volleyball that you've really enjoyed or you still kind of play on the side?
Yeah, basketball. I actually had to choose between basketball and volleyball when going to college. So basketball is a sport that I love. I still play whenever I can. It's just kind of one of those games where I just feel like myself when I'm on the court. So yeah, definitely miss basketball for sure.
Nice. Has it been fun to follow the Stonehill women's team then, having such a good women's team to root for?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I honestly was so happy to have a great women's basketball program. My roommate is actually on the basketball team, so that's been really cool to kind of have like that inside look. But yeah, they're amazing. All props to them.
Is there a professional athlete you admire either for their skills or for other things they do off the field of the court?
Yeah, I think I have like one for each sport probably. But if I had to think right now, I would probably say either Tim Tebow or Dwayne Wade are two of my favorites.
Big time Florida connection,
Exactly.
phenomenal athletes. You can't go wrong with that. Do you have any, guilty pleasure TV shows or movies that you've kind of gotten into in the last, 9 months or so?
Criminal Minds. I just am into those crime shows, probably because my dad's a police officer. I don't really know, but I am just really into those. Rewatched New Girl probably for the third time, which is kind of like my guilty pleasure. Watching Grey's Anatomy. It's back on now, so that's exciting. I've also been watching shows on Amazon Prime, like The Marvelous Miss Maisel. I don't know. There's some shows that I just click and then you just are in a rabbit hole and you're just watching that for the next 5 days.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I've done that. I've rewatched some New Girl as well. I'm not gonna lie, it's great, great show.
It's a great one.
Is there any books you've read since, I guess pretty much since like COVID started that you've really enjoyed or that have really stuck with you?
I have actually, the only book I've read is called The Reason for God. And it's been a really good one. I like to think about deep questions, kind of person I am. And being able to have the time where I'm home and not really doing much, it's been a really interesting book. It gives you both sides of the argument. So that's been an awesome read.
Yeah, Tim Keller's a great author.
Yeah.
For you, when you're home in Miami right now, so I guess when you come back from Massachusetts from Stonehill, what's the first thing you want to eat? And it's like, I need to have this. I want this. What are you having, and where are you having it?
When I come home to Miami,
Yeah, from being at Stonehill.
well, the first place I'll go to is called Pinecrest Bakery. And I'll go there because it's the fastest and the easiest. They're open 24 hours, so no matter what time I land, I can go. And I'll get a tequeño and a croqueta. So a tequeño is basically the baked version of a mozzarella stick. Instead of it being fried, it's baked. And it is to die for. I could not recommend it more. And a croqueta, it's kind of like I don't know how to explain it because it'll sound weird, but I'll have like a ham croquette and it's like shredded up ham and it's fried. And it sounds very weird, but it is very, very good. And so that's the first thing I'll go for, just like that Spanish food real quick. My brother and I always joke about that's like our first stop whenever we get home.
Oh yeah, for sure. I totally understand that. Kind of, and finally, what's something you hope to accomplish in the next year?
In the next year, volleyball wise, hopefully we have a season. I would love to have an NE10 championship, to end out my career with that would be amazing. But beyond that, going into the workforce and, actually being an adult. I think what I would like to accomplish, just, making an impact wherever I am in whatever way possible, creating that network, getting that first promotion, adult things, I guess. That's kind of what I have on my heart and my mind of what I want to accomplish in the future.
Nice. Well, that sounds like some awesome goals, and I really want to thank you for joining us today, and hope you have a great rest of your semester, and really able to celebrate Thanksgiving here with your family in the next week or so.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks.